I have sailed the vast oceans, scaled the highest mountains, and atop this rock, I will build my kingdom and become master of all I survey, whether it be peacefully or through the blood of those who dare oppose me. At first, the locals were wary of my presence, rightfully so, but when they saw the luxury I had to offer, they were all convinced I was here to do good. All but one was convinced. Ezekiel. Ezekiel knew the path of destruction that followed my line of work. He was a threat to my rule, and he knew it. But at the moment, he had no power, no influence. I could operate with impunity, for now. These fools did not even realize the riches they stood atop. Coal, a vital resource used to power the weapons of war, to turn the cogs of an insatiable machine that's only goals were to produce money, power, and death. I had to act quickly. I got to work building my fortress, an important first step in securing one's authority over a region. I put the local populace to work, all of whom volunteered, eager to assist the one they think will bring them prosperity. Constructing a fortress, brick by brick, believing its purpose was to protect them and to not keep them out. I worked with haste to establish infrastructure, expanding the village to accommodate an influx of immigrants who heard of the promises of wealth and a new life. These immigrants proved useful, as they were more willing to work in the mines and break their backs just to make a profit for me. I had to expand further as factories began to rise from the ground. The village grew as well. The wood and stone facades that once represented this village were slowly replaced with the oppressive gaze of concrete and brick. The place began to feel more like a prison than the quaint little village it once was. That sentiment began to echo through the inhabitants who had been here from the start. This was reported to me by the High Council, but I waved off their concerns and reassured them of the prosperities I offered. On the surface I was calm, but deep down a storm was brewing. I knew who it was that was spreading such rumors. As the final brick in my castle was cemented, so was my rule over these lands, and already that rule was being challenged. But there was nothing they could do, for I was no longer a dusty traveler. I was king. My influence had spread throughout the lands. Other villages nearby fell under my rule, and their inhabitants bowed down to me. Everyone was happy. All except for one. He saw through the mask I wore. He knew the things I had done and the things I will do. And he was quickly gaining influence. I would see him conversing with the townsfolk, spreading his lies, sowing the seeds of revolution through his seditious rhetoric, laying my true nature to bear. Sentiments over my rule began to sour once again. Ezekiel continued to spread sedition. If he thinks he's immune from my wrath, he is sorely mistaken. If he will not stop this peacefully, then I will stop him by force.
You wanted me to kill you, to become a martyr for such a stupid little movement. Well, too bad. You'll just die down here, alone, forgotten. Other such things that relate to that existentialism. See ya.
The next day, It was silent. The smokestacks of the factory fell dormant. People were walking away from the mines and congregating in town square. They were on strike.
What an unbelievable overstep! They had no right! I burst my way into the cathedral. The High Council was there, waiting for me. I demanded him to call off the strike at once. The High Council spat back at me. He knew what I was doing. He knew what was going on. I proceeded to beat the shit out of him, to beat him into submission. But he remained steadfast. All my attempts were in vain to get the workers back to work. These peasants truly believed they had power over me.
I knew it would come to this. It always does, doesn't it? I had to call in the Pinkertons. By the time the High Council surrendered, it was already too late. Everything was in ruins. Bodies laid strewn across the streets, buildings were burned to the ground, and if they didn't burn, they were blown up. The now homeless citizens wandered the streets. They had nowhere else to go. All that stands are the monuments of my tyranny, a grim reminder of all that has happened here today. My line of work is a vicious cycle, a dealer of death, a royal flush with every hand. There's nothing here left for me.